We're back. I'm Curtis Smith. Now that we've learned how to dethatch, Chris has shown us what to do, we're liable to go out and rent a dethatching machine and we might make some mistakes. And a lot of people wonder, what can I do to solve it? Is it solvable? Let's ask Chris what he would suggest here. So Chris, I see an area here where it looks like there's been a little dethatching error.
Yeah, when we were dethatching this area, as you can see, the teeth got a little deep in this area, has a little bit of root damage. As far as for the plant itself, this isn't terminal. This would repair itself in time.
Did you give it water, a little aeration?
With a little bit of water and an aerator, some fertilizer at the right times, this is going to come back just like all the rest of the lawn. But if you're as conscientious about your lawns as I am, this isn't going to get it.
Homeowners would like to have nice green lawn everywhere.
I don't blame them, you know. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and show you how to kind of top dress this out and put down some new seed so that this won't be a problem. So that it can, you know, in a few weeks, you can really show the fruit of your labor.
Now, what kind of seed would you use here?
Now then, out here at Fort Hills, we like to use K31. We have several different types of grass here, and so we can't really match a specific type of grass. K31 is a good drought-tolerant grass. It stays green and never gets the blue-gray that the bluegrass sometimes gets.
It's a cool season, so it's going to use more than some of the warm
exactly.
grasses.
It's a pasture grass. It's made to really go through the natural cycles of life, you know, and we have to kick in a little bit of water now and again, but it's a lot better for conservation reasons.
So you're going to do that. Now, if this was a lawn that was just a bluegrass lawn, you'd probably want to match the bluegrass to variety if you could, but at least to texture.
Right. You got to remember, most lawns that are put in, they're put in with bluegrass turf. And if you're going to go in with seed, you really want to use a high quality seed.
And there are some sides that are fescue sides, but they're not K31 fescue, they're much finer bladed.
Exactly.
So it's important to match that if it's a uniform stand of grass that it has the same texture.
Exactly.
But in this case, since you've got a mixture, you can come back in with something.
I would like K31 to be the predominant grass here eventually. Of course, that's on down the line.
Okay. Well, will you show us how you do this?
Absolutely. Why don't we get out of the way and let my helper Jason go ahead and get to this piece.
Sounds good.
All right. Okay, well, as you can see, Jay's going to go ahead and put down a little bit of soil here. Basically, you want to top dress. You want to make sure that the grass that's there does peek through. But by the same token, you want to get some new soil down in there so that the seed has a good chance to take bite.
And this is not really mineral soil, but this is more of an organic soil you're putting in?
Absolutely. You want it to be fairly heavy just so it doesn't blow away in the wind this time of year. But we want to stay with some composted soil. We want it to be, you know, nice and airy.
And so homemade compost would work?
Homemade compost would work, and I would highly suggest it, especially as a top dressing, because that'll keep the birds out of your seed.
Okay. But you don't like peat moss?
Well, you know, peat moss, it has a tendency just to blow away. It doesn't really take water very well. It has a tendency to repel water. And so you end up with an uneven lawn if you use the peat moss. You can't get it to stay in place.
Okay. Now that he's finished, what's the next step?
The next step, if it weren't such a windy day, would be putting down the seed. And basically you want to put down a light skiff, but as you can see, that seed, it's pretty light, and we don't want it to blow all over the property here today. So we're not going to seed today. We'll come back and seed at a later time when the weather's just a little better for us.